Amira had been holding on to anger for years. A simple disagreement with her brother, Tariq, over a family matter had spiraled into a deep rift. The more she clung to her resentment, the more it seemed to drain her energy. The bitterness lingered in every conversation, clouding her interactions with not just Tariq, but everyone in her family. She began to feel emotionally exhausted, as if her own happiness had been trapped beneath the weight of the grudge she carried. Over time, Amira noticed physical changes as well. She had trouble sleeping, felt constantly anxious, and noticed a deep ache in her chest. It was as if the anger she held onto was seeping into her health, stealing her peace and well-being. Her relationships with others also began to suffer. The walls she'd built around herself to protect her from hurt had inadvertently isolated her from those who cared about her. One day, after a conversation with a close friend, Amira began to understand the true power of forgiveness. Forgiveness, she realized, wasn't about excusing Tariq's actions or pretending they hadn't hurt her. It wasn't even about allowing the past to repeat itself. It was about freeing herself from the chains of resentment that had been holding her back. The idea of letting go of the anger didn't mean condoning the hurtful behavior. It meant releasing its grip on her life so she could move forward. Amira began her journey of forgiveness, a process that was neither easy nor quick. She first acknowledged her feelings, the hurt, the anger, and the betrayal she felt. She took time to reflect on why she was holding on to those emotions and what impact they were having on her. Slowly, she tried to understand Tariq's perspective. She remembered the times they had shared as children and the bond they once had. She realized that people make mistakes, and sometimes, those mistakes were born from misunderstandings or pressures they weren't fully aware of. It wasn't easy. There were days when the anger seemed to creep back in, but Amira chose to forgive for her own peace of mind. She didn't want to continue living in the shadow of resentment, carrying the emotional burden that weighed her down. With time, she reached out to Tariq, offering him a chance to reconcile. It was a simple conversation at first, one that allowed them to speak openly and honestly, without judgment or blame. The act of forgiveness brought healing not just to Amira, but also to her relationship with Tariq. What followed was a new understanding between them, a stronger bond, and a sense of peace that had long been missing. Amira felt lighter, as if a weight had been lifted from her heart. Her relationships with her family flourished once more, and she found herself more present in her own life. Forgiveness didn't just heal her emotional pain, it freed her from the toxic grip of anger, allowing her to embrace a future filled with peace and positive connections. In forgiving Tariq, Amira had unknowingly forgiven herself as well, releasing the bitterness that had held her captive. Through this journey, she realized that the power of forgiveness was not only about healing old wounds, but also about moving forward with a heart open to love, peace, and reconciliation.